hearing all these rumors, right? That child support got granted. Anthony is already paid 216 months with his 18 years up front. And guess what, y'all? It's not true.
Right.
It's not true. Where did this come from?
And and we know it's not true because we looked at the court documents both in California and in Georgia.
Yep.
So I'm not sure where it came from. I think I saw something from maybe people.com or People Magazine where, there was rumors that started from someone on Twitter or X, and then people just picked it up and ran with it.
Yeah.
And they're not sure why it started there. So this whole thing about him paying up his child support for 18 years, I don't know where that came from because there's still no court order. They still have court dates. They have court dates.
And we're going to prove April 2nd, which is just this week, which is literally 2 days ago. Ayesha filed in Fulton County asking for temporary child support and attorney's fees. She is asking the court, she talks about them being involved in this case, the one child. She says the minor child is dependent upon both parents for support. Child support should be calculated. It hasn't even been calculated, guys. She says the petitioner is a professional athlete whose annual gross income is in excess of $40 million. Wow, that is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. She says Anthony is She says, by contrast, this respondent is Ayesha, is currently unemployed and relies solely upon savings, family support, and any support that petitioner provides to maintain the needs and care of the minor child. So she lost a job in a month and a half.
Right.
Because in March 11th, she said she was employed, and now April 2nd, she's saying she's unemployed. But in California, she listed music artist, brand ambassador, the songwriter, artist for good fellow records, good record, somebody.
Right.
She listed a ton of things, and here she's saying April 2nd, she's unemployed.
And she's had lawyers. Like she had a lawyer in California. She has lawyers here in Georgia.
Yes.
So where are you getting all this money to pay?
Exactly. Where is this money coming from?
Or savings, like where? So here she's trying to, and here's the thing, y'all. So in Georgia, Georgia is really what we call it like an income shares model. So child support is calculated based on both parents' income. So let's say if the more money dad makes, and if he doesn't have custody of the child, the more money he makes and the less money she makes, the more he has to pay in child support.
Yes.
But the more money that she starts to make, that child support obligation goes down because then her income is taken into consideration. Now he makes so much more money than her that it's probably not going to go down a whole lot, maybe $10, $20, $30, depending on what her income is. And that's just because he just makes, $40 million a year. So it's not going to go down much, but that's why she is putting in this pleading now that she is unemployed. She doesn't have any money. I'm living off of family savings and the little bit that I was getting because she doesn't want that child support to go down based on the income that she was making from before. Or maybe now, it depends. Now they're going to have to get into a bunch of discovery and evidence to really see what those bank accounts were looking like.
Yeah, subpoena those Social Security records. Like, when is the last time you earned some money? She cites here just some law about why he should be made to, this is about that high income deviation, saying that Anthony's income and financial resources are nearly 10,000 times that of Ayesha. The only way to ensure both parties have access to similar resources to provide for fair and effective representation for both parties in the present case is for the court to award Ayesha attorney's fees on an interim and permanent basis. So she like, pay for my lawyer up front as we're working this case out. So this was filed October 2nd, and there has been nothing. Also they filed a motion to seal because everybody's getting these documents from California, leaking all the tea and the text messages. So they're asking the court, and it also was filed April 2nd, to seal the court file. So of course, when I saw that, I was like, let me download everything before it gets locked down, because then we won't be able to see it. But that's where it stopped, y'all. So child support hasn't even been decided. So I have no clue where this rumor birthed. There's a video on TMZ of Ayesha speaking about this rumor coming up and how it's not true. I would play it, but TMZ strikes you. I learned my lesson the first time, so I'm not going to do it, but go check that out. She talks about how this rumor just came out of nowhere, y'all. So it's a rumor, but let's get into it. If it was true, is it possible in Georgia? And is that something you ever recommend for your clients? Because what's the good, bad side of that?
Oh my gosh. So I've had clients ask me that. They'll say, I don't want to deal with her. I just want to be done. Can I just pay her all the money? They'll be calculating and adding it up and trying to figure out what the obligation is. And they're like, can I just pay her all up front and be done? So there's no restriction or no law prohibiting a parent who has to pay child support from paying it all up front, because you're responsible for paying your child support obligations. It's on you. So I never, ever, 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 ever advise child support payers to pay child support all at once up front.
Y'all hear that now?
Don't do it. Do not do it. Do not do it. And the reason I don't is because, there's a such thing that if your financial circumstances change during that 18-year period that your child is a minor and you're obligated to pay, you have a right to go back to the court and ask the court to adjust the child support to fit what you're making, and whether you're making more or less. So, in that situation, I tell people, I say, look, if you want to pay it all at once, just put all the money in an account at once and then let it auto draft to her. Yeah. Just do that. And then you still don't have to deal with her, but you know that she's being paid and is being auto drafted. But the danger with paying everything all up front is, let's say that Anthony gets a bigger contract, right? Let's say he gets a bigger contract and, is double, what he's making. Then if he was in reality to pay all that child support up front, that doesn't stop her from coming back to say, I want to now modify child support to increase the obligation because he's making more now. And she can come back and ask the court to increase the child support based on the amount of money he's making at that time then. And she'll just give him credit for what he paid up front.
Yeah, that's it. So it's not really like, oh, this is a genius move. It saves me from ever being bothered again. No, the child support in Georgia can be modified every 2 years, right?
Right.
And if there's a big substantial change prior to that 2 years or outside of like a 2-year window, then you can still come back, right? So if he drafted to the Lakers and get a $500 million contract, Ayesha coming back for some more money.
Right. And let's say, because right now the child's a baby, right? Yeah. And, let's say, and it seems like she's at home with the child, maybe. She's saying she's not working, so I'm assuming the child is not in daycare yet. But at some point, kids get older, they have more expenses, they get involved in extracurricular activities. What if she, gets involved in some sort of like gymnastics or ballet? What if she wants her daughter to go to private school? Well, here's the thing. If he pays the child support all up front, and at the time that he was paying the child support, those expenses did not exist. So child support was only calculated based on that current situation of the baby being a baby, and he's paid it all up front. She can still modify and say, look, my daughter's situation or circumstances have changed as well. Even if he doesn't make more money, right? Let's say he's still making the same amount of money. She can still file and ask the court, like, look, all of these expenses were not taken into consideration because she was a baby. Where now she's older, we have, extracurricular activities, we have, dental expenses, all these expenses that didn't exist. That does not alleviate him from contributing to that just because he paid his child support up front. So that's a situation as well. And then the flip side, is, what if he's no longer working in the NBA, right? And what if he's out there, with a regular job, let's say making $70,000 a year? Is he then kicking himself like, dang it, getting all this money when really, I'm not playing in the NBA 10 years later anymore. So the remaining 8 years, I could have been paying her a child support calculated off of $70,000 a year as opposed to the multi-millions that I was making back then. You know, so he kind of shortchanges himself too when it comes to that. So I don't ever recommend that. That should not happen. I don't know if that was just a rumor to make the situation go viral. You know, if so, they did a good job of that. But you know, I just don't think it's smart to advise any person to pay their child support up front like that.
Not at all. Danny B says, can an agreement be signed to where she can't ask for more money?
That's a good point, because at the end of the day, when it comes to agreements, the judge still has to approve it and sign off on it. The judge literally has to be able to look at the agreement, because remember, y'all, the judge is going to do what's in the best interest of the child. And so oftentimes in Georgia, you know, the law says in Georgia that parents can't waive child support. They can't sign an agreement and say, hey, you know, there's going to be no child support, because the money is for, I know we've been talking about Ayesha and Anthony quite a bit, but at the end of the day, that child support money is for the child. It's not for Ayesha, even though she gets it because she is the, you know, caregiver of the child. It's not for her. It doesn't belong to him. It belongs to this child. So when there's an agreement in place, the judge has to approve it. There's some law out there that does not allow a judge to, or excuse me, parties to waive the right for one party to file a modification, because again, we're talking about what's in this child's best interest.
Yes.
So for two parents to try to come to an agreement to say, you're going to agree that for 3 years or 4 years, you're not going to ask the court to modify or change the child support. I want you to sign off on that. Well, that's not their decision to make. That belongs to the child. Now they can agree to the amount of child support, and as long as it's sufficient, the judge will sign off on it. But some judges won't sign off on certain amounts if they don't think it's enough. So they can agree to the amount, but they can't just agree to waive baby girl's rights. Like baby girl has a right, and that's why the judge is there to make sure that baby girl's voice is heard through the judge's decision and determining what's in her best interest.
Yes. Gamer Logic says, can he go to the court and ask for some of it back like she can with him if for some reason in 5 years he's no longer in the NBA? I've paid her $1.2 million up front. I'm broke now. I need some of my money back. Can I get it back?
So people can file and ask for anything, right? The question is, will a judge grant such a request? So again, we're looking at what's in the child's best interest. Is it really in the child's best interest to pay daddy back money he gave to mom to take care of the child? Is that really in the child's best interest? I don't see a legal basis to request that. I don't know of a legal basis to request for a refund or money back, except the situation that I mentioned before with, you know, where dad found out that he wasn't the biological father. But if that's not the situation, I don't see where there would be a legal basis for him to ask for money back. That's just, that would not be beneficial to the minor child.
Now, is there any way where that upfront money could be considered not all child support? Like, well, some of that's a gift, so you still owe her. Like, is it a way to designate, no, this is child support. I'm not giving any gift. All of this needs to count for each month of the 18 years.
He would need to designate it as that to avoid her saying it's a gift. He didn't really pay it. So y'all, what usually happens, well, not what usually happens, but what sometimes happens is, let's say there's a court order in place for child support, and the court order says that the money is going to be automatically garnished from their paychecks, right? And so if the money is automatically coming out of the paycheck, but then, and let's just use dad in this situation, but then dad turns around and Zell's mom $100 or $200, or he turns around and just gives her some cash, you know, but the court order says it needs to be garnished from his paycheck. Well, that cash that he's given her, he's not going to get credit for that. And what she can do is she can go to the court and say, oh, he's behind on his child support, and, you know, the money he gave me in cash, it doesn't count. So I want him to be arrested and incarcerated until he pays me this money. And he's looking like, girl, you know, I paid you that money via Zelle, and you know that was for child support. And she's probably like, that wasn't for child support. That was just so go to the movies, you know, or so we could go to Disney World, and so I could buy them some gifts at Disney World. So yeah, in those instances, if he does not pay that child support the way the judge says it needs to be paid, it's considered a gift. It is considered a gift. He does not get credit for it. He's going to have to pay again.
Gotta pay it again. So if you send in a Zelle, you better put child support in the memo so that, in case you got to go to court and argue about it. So they won't be trying to say, no, this was a gift. Well, man, we have covered so much information. Shout out. Thank you.
Now we're going to have to keep following this case. I feel like I wasn't following it before, but now I feel like I have an interest. I'm vested in this. I saw that. So they did file a motion to seal the case. That was Anthony's legal team that filed a motion to seal the case. I don't know if the judge will do that. It's not a bad idea, but I'm just thinking about all the mess that's already out there from the California court. Like, why didn't they file a motion? Well, I don't know if they did because I didn't go through the court docket, but I'm like, why didn't you file a motion to seal all that juicy stuff we just saw that was filed in the California court? But they did file that request, and there's court on April 9th. So what's that? Next Wednesday, Tuesday?
Yeah, next Wednesday. Now, is this a court like everybody can go to, or is this one of those like status conferences they do in Fulton?
No, it's literally, it said Rule Nasa. So that's just a fancy word, y'all, to say we're going to have a court hearing. Okay. It's April 9th at 3 p.m. And I believe it's in person. If I looked at the notice correctly. Yeah, it was.
This is going to be interesting, y'all. So we're going to have to come back next week and figure out what happens, because this hearing is going to be for the temporary child support. So
it's going to be for the motion to seal.
Oh, motion to seal. Oh, okay.
Now, there is another court date on May 5th. So May 5th, that's a status conference. They call it here in Georgia a 60-day status conference. That's at 10 a.m. on May 5th. Now, May 5th, though, the judge at that May 5th court date can establish temporary child support on May 5th. So that may be, and they're both asking for the same thing. I don't know why mom bothered filing a motion for temporary child support, because dad already said it in his petition. He said, let's go ahead and establish temporary child support. So we got 2 court dates coming up. Now I'm vested. I will be following it, and we might have to do a follow up to see what happens.
Yeah, we gotta do a follow up.
Assuming the judge doesn't seal it.
Yeah, I know, right? Because if she seals it, then I'm gonna have to do some things to get the paperwork in. We're gonna try if we can still see if we can get access to it, y'all. Because I know some people down there at Fulton, but we're gonna see. So our poll has been up the entire time. Where do you stand? She's getting what she deserves. Y'all say 72% of y'all like she get what she deserves. Like, nobody's feeling bad for Ayesha. And 28% was he wrong for that. So, still a few people out there feeling like he's wrong for kind of this. And I think you can kind of be on both sides, right? You can feel like Ayesha's getting what she deserves. She was told up front that this man didn't want to be involved. And he actually filed first in Georgia. And she also knew how he was, because December, a month before she gets pregnant, he has a scandal with Paige Jordan. So that all comes out, the $100K, the ask for an abortion. And so I guess maybe she thought she was going to be special. She thought things were going to be different, and they weren't. As soon as she sends her text, she gets the same have an abortion text back from Mr. Edwards. So, I kind of get why she's going so hard in her court filings and how she feels emotional about it. But at the same time, he kind of told you what time it was. You knew before you got pregnant what type of man you were dealing with. So it's on you, boo.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's just so unfortunate, because I don't really see it as her getting what she deserves. Because remember, this whole situation is, we got a little child involved, So when people say she's getting what she deserves, that sounds like they're saying, well, that's what happens with your child. At the end of the day, it's only the child that suffers, on both ends, when you have 2 people who can't come together and at least co-parent. So I don't know that it's really her getting what she deserves, so to speak. It's really just the child losing out, and that's so unfortunate.
And I really hope Anthony comes around and it one day becomes a father in his child's life. So we got enough about them. All right. So before I let you go, okay, because I dropped at the beginning that this was celebrity family attorney, and she had some celebrity clients, right? Offset and Cardi, I know they got a case going on. Simon, Got a case with Portia. Is there any tea, like a little, just like a little blurb, a little drip of tea that we can
So yeah. What I will say is just don't believe everything in the media, because you can't. The headlines, a lot of the headlines are clickbait. You can't believe everything in the media, because a lot of this is ongoing litigation. I can't get into any of that, and then I like to respect my client's privacy. But maybe one day I'll be back.
Yes, okay, we're gonna have her back on the show. So
shed some light on some
here,
things. Yeah, we can shed some light on some things. I may be back, but when there's ongoing litigation, I just don't like to get into those things because again, people react off of emotions. The public reacts off of little clips here and there. So we'll just have to wait and see and stay tuned.
Yes, Chelsea Lynn NC says y'all did an amazing job tonight. Wasn't this amazing? Shanika Young says great live tonight as always. Thank y'all so much.
Did we really just go 2 hours?
Okay, yes, we did go 2 hours and 20 minutes. Like when you start getting into this stuff, it gets so fun and time is flying by. So I got to get Onyema Farrey off of here so she can get to the family because I didn't held her up. But before we get out of here, tell everybody about your practice, who you are again, so they can find you if they need you.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned earlier, I am a family law attorney. I handle divorces, custody, child support for both moms and dads. But I've carved out a niche to really go hard for fathers. And so we are located in Atlanta, Georgia. We practice all over the state of Georgia. As far as where you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Attorney Farrey. So just like my name on the screen is at Attorney Farrey. Also, I am on Facebook. The firm is Anene Farrey and Associates. You can find me on Facebook. If you just Google my name, I'll pop up all over the place. I am also I'm on YouTube, but my YouTube a little dry. So
We're gonna get Attorney Farrey's YouTube channel. So one of the mods just dropped "Thank you for always, forever, for life." Just dropped her YouTube channel in the chat. I have pinned it to the messages. I want everybody. We got 63 people in here, so I want all 63 to run over to her channel and hit subscribe. Turn your notifications on because sis got a lot of knowledge and tea, so we gonna get her on YouTube so she can keep us educated and spill it because we just gotta know. We gotta know. I see Cardi B done moved on. I already know Offset over there in his feelings. I can't wait to get her back to talk about that. So definitely, yes, somebody said that IG pic Farrey. Yes, okay. Once she killing them, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Yes.
So,
all right,
I'm proud of my IG picture.
Yes.
I just got it done not too long ago, about a couple of weeks ago. So I'm proud of my picture.
Yes, she just had that photo shoot. Yes. So, all right, her channel is pinned in the chat. So go hit it. Go hit that subscribe button. Come back and tell me you subscribe so we can run it up. So we can get her on YouTube to drop this knowledge and tea. And we are going to have her back. That's objection 403 says, girl, you two need to be every other week co-host. Oh, okay. We did have a great time.
I told you this is my first live that I've ever done. And, thank you so much for having me because I'm always like, who am I? Like, how can I go live? Because it's always weird kind of talking to, a screen. You feel like you're talking to yourself. And then, I'm, believe it or not, people always tell me, I don't believe you, but I'm camera shy. Like I'm really camera shy. I'm video shy. I like to pick things apart. And so this was great. This was a great live. You made me feel comfortable. So shout out to you. And you're a natural. You just started this channel like what, less than a year ago?
Like thanks to the lead attorney, he gave me that TLA effect October 28th. And so I used to be terrified though. So I totally get it. I used to be so scared to hit this button. So scared to get on here now. It's like I got the studio set up at home. It's a little more comfortable. So yes. And well, girl, the people are loving you. You got all the knowledge. So look, don't hesitate. For always, forever, for life says yes, all your knowledge is needed, Attorney Farrey. So
thank you.
And get on YouTube Nene says, shout out TLA. Yes, shout out to my YouTube mentor, TLA. Chelsea Lynn says you did an amazing job, Farrey. You got your foot in the water. You are natural as well. I'm telling her. So this is my sorority sister too. So we got to shout out the crest. So we are Deltas. You know it. We pledge at the University of Georgia.
The same school that Anthony went to.
Yes. Okay. That's why I was like, he out here tripping at my alma mater, got us out here looking crazy, right? So yes, we are both Bulldogs. So shout out to all the Deltas in the chat. And thank you so much, Onyema Farrey, for coming on. Again, you all can find her in Atlanta. She handles all family cases. So that's divorce, child support, paternity. Whether you're a celebrity or not, she can handle your case. As you stated, she's carved out a niche for guys. If you follow her on social media, you'll see a lot of stories from regular men that talk about how she's fought and allowed them to be able to see their kids when mom kept them out of their life. Sometimes, and quite often, she even gets dad's full custody. Like,
let me tell you, more likely than not, I get dad's full custody of their children, even in a situation where it's a legitimation and it's just, they've never been married. I literally get dad's full custody. And that's what I was doing over on my YouTube, was just sharing some of my experiences, some results, just to encourage fathers. Because like I said, the court system has traditionally been against dads. It really has, or sometimes they're just intimidated. They get the short end of the stick. And I just empower them. And I'm like, look, if you really want custody, you really want some parenting time, call me, because I got you. I got you.
Like Chelsea Lynn NC says, moms fear Farrey in the courtroom. Okay, because she will hold their feet to the fire and she's going to get dad's justice. So definitely look her up if you need anything. And although we are both two amazing attorneys in Atlanta, Georgia, we are not your attorneys. We have just been providing legal commentary. So don't get it twisted. Okay. So, but both of us have firms. I specialize in criminal defense and personal injury. Attorney Farrey specializes in family law. So if you need attorneys in Atlanta, look us both up. We thank you all for being here tonight with us. We got K Smith gifted 5 Fit Lawyer ATL memberships. Shout out for the support. Thank K Smith if you got one of those memberships. We had over like 70 some people in the chat at one time talking about this. We were also streaming on Facebook and IG at the same time, okay? Because this was just a topic that everyone was talking about. So whatever platform you were on, I hope you had an amazing time with us tonight. Again, y'all put Attorney Farrey in the damn chat. Thank her for coming by the Fit Lawyer ATL's channel and hanging out with us for almost 2.5 hours. I know that the invoice gonna be high. So y'all make sure y'all put Attorney Farrey in the chat. It was so great hanging out with you all tonight. I got some updates coming. Diddy has a superseding indictment. So tune in next week. We're going to be talking about that on the channel. And we're going to stay tuned to this Anthony Edwards story and figure out how much this child support actually turns out to be. So it was great being here with you all tonight. And I'll see you in court.
Yes. Bye.